Alright, made another video from last Sunday, or Sunday I guess it should be called. We have more extreme social distancing and long range isolation with target acquisition. I had 2,300 yards or 1.3 miles, 2,192 which is like 1.25 miles, and 2,500 which is 1.4 miles. Now we're zooming in on the 2,300 yard target. And I take my first shot at that. Hits the left. And I was pretty proud of that. And then I just moved to the camera, and there's the second shot. It hits. And I just kind of fast forwarded through everything. There's a poof on the left. Miss. I kicked the camera, so I was aiming up at the sky. There's 3 shots on target. But the way I had to lay in that container or long rifle, I didn't want to put the rifle bipod out the window on the platform, so it's kind of sitting on a little windowsill. So I'm sitting in pretzel prone position with the rear bag on end on a collapsed tripod to get enough elevation out of the back of the rifle. My right knee's like under my right armpit. My left knee is up the wall, and my knee's all bloody, even though I was wearing pants from squeezing into that pretzel prone position. But it was fun. All the 416 Barrett shots are from pretzel prone. There's a few more misses on there. I think I slowed down the last one. And there's the target. I circled that one because I swore I hit it twice when I was shooting at it, but I looked at the video and I only hit that once. There should be 6 shots on target. And now I'm going into a little drawing I did explaining wind and why you miss. The bullseye is in the center of that 36-inch square target. Okay, I have my little drawing here, trying to explain wind a little bit. And I'll probably mess up some math or something. I'm trying to make it simple here. Basically, this is based on shooting 2,500 yards, 338 Lapua Magnum, 36-inch square target. This is just one example. It's not going to match anybody else's example, but it's accurate for my bullets. And everything else, similar. So basically, you have no headwind, or 15 mile per hour headwind. From 12 o'clock, you got to aim left 36 inches to accommodate for the spin drift of the bullet and rotation of the earth, depending on which way you're aiming. And there's already a bunch of elevation cranked in here to get it to where it's going to hit this spot at this distance. So that's where you're going to go 15 miles per hour with your dead-on headwind. Then, for example, the wind dies off, you got to aim 22.32 inches lower, because without the wind it's going to go that much higher. And this target, half of that's 18 inches, so you're going to miss. If the wind goes from 15 miles an hour to 0, you're going to go 4.32 inches above the target. So, just an example, your setup, you're going for a 1 o'clock 15 mile per hour wind, so it's coming from the right. So you got to aim right 84 inches from the bullseye, which is 120 inches right from no wind, or 12 o'clock wind. And you also have to aim down 6.12 inches because the wind's coming from the right. and this is a right-hand spinning bullet because of the way the barrel's done. And when it's spinning to the right and the wind's from the right, it's going to lift the bullet up. So it's going to be 6.12 inches high if you don't aim 6.12 inches low. And then over here, if the wind shifts is coming from your 11 o'clock at 15 miles per hour, you're going to have to aim 119 inches. That's not right. Yeah, 119 inches left of your 12 o'clock wind, and that is 155 inches left of the bullseye. So there's a math error. And just a tiny bit lower, 0.36 inches down. And so when you're thinking about all this, and if the wind shifts the slightest bit, especially from dead on going left to right, you can get your elevation change here. And then if you have a bullet that's going 10 feet per second slower because you have one tiny little flake of powder less than one bullet you loaded compared to the rest, it's going to hit 11.16 inches lower. And so if you're more than that, you only have 18 inches of target here from bullseye in either direction to be off by to completely miss the target. And I did a little example here which is really confusing. So if you got it from your 1 o'clock 15 mile per hour wind, switches to no wind, you're going to hit 120 inches or 10 feet right of the bullseye, because you're aiming 84 inches right, and you got this other 36 inches. Put that together and you're 120 inches and 10 feet off the target. So if it switches from your 1 o'clock to your 11 o'clock, you're going to be all sorts of screwed up. And I don't even want to try and figure that out right now. But that just kind of explains how difficult this can be. And if you're going from one side to the other, you get another variable with the height of the bullet. Your elevation hit's going to change. And as I say here, this is drawn to scale. So if this little square was actually 36 inches, you'd be that far over and that far down to hit the bullseye with a wind coming from 1 o'clock to the right, from the right, excuse me. And you're going out 2,500 yards, you're going to get a couple changes in wind. And it's hard to figure out, and it's never the same where you're sitting as it is at the target. I guess it could be, but that makes it way more difficult. And just explaining it is difficult. So hopefully that makes sense, or at least gives you a little bit of an idea of some of the variables. Okay, now we're going for the 2192 target, which is 1.24 miles out. Alright, it is 2192 to that sucker. Cameras are down. Let's see if we can get it. Check the video after. There's a couple of these I don't see the splash on. What's funny is I didn't notice it. I hit just left right there. Poof! Not sure where I hit when I was shooting. I don't know. I did clip these a little bit so you're not looking at dead air, but watch the change in the direction of the splash, the way the wind blows the dirt between some of these. Ah, hit right. Shit. If I'd have it dead on. Oh, bottom left. Son of a bitch, man. Gone. On target. Shit. Left hit. Look at the dirt below that. I guess that's not a hit. Splash. Nice. I was having issues because I kept kicking the camera too, because the tripod was like squished around me as I'm laying there pretzel prone with my back totally arched and my left knee up the wall. If you watch that, you see how fast that wind took that to the left? I'm pretty sure that was a hit too. It explodes below the target. Okay, now this next one, watch. Poof. Goes to the right. Crazy. Crazy. I think those are my two hits. But I'm not positive. Bottom left. Maybe. Oh. Cover off. Zoom back in. Those two bottom hits circled red should be the 416 we just shot. Had to make a smiley so it didn't just look like two boobs. Alright. Got the camera way back here, out of the wind. I'm gonna go for that 2192 right there. So this is my first shot of the day with the 338 Lapua. Fresh out of the shooting bag. It's inches away at 1 1/4 miles. I'm pretty stoked about that. Oof. Ooh. Not bad, cool door, baby. Here's some with estimated speed we're gonna. This next one's pretty close too, and then I kick the camera and you can't see anything, but it looks like a pile of green algae. That's weird. So there's the two 338 hits, circled in light blue, bottom right and top middle. Good stuff, good stuff. Okay, now we're moving to the long sucker, 2,500 yards, 1.42 miles, way down there. It's like down a corridor from the target we were just shooting at, 308 yards away. You can barely see it circled on that picture there. And there's the shot from where the camera is. You can't even really see it from 308 yards away. I tried to circle it badly in the camera. So here we are, 2,500 yards, that 338 Lapua. Oh, I see splash. Oh yeah. You can see splash where the cursor is there. And I didn't mention earlier, yes, I'm all alone all day, shooting by myself. There we go. Nobody to spot for me but myself and hopefully the assistance of camera. There's splash replay. Pretty stoked about that. That's coming from 300 feet in the air. But yeah, these bullets, 5-second flight time and 300 feet. It's like dropping out of the sky. You shoot over a 20-story building to hit this target, basically. So, craziness.
Camera's doing tricky things.
So with that camera being so far back, pixelating makes it hard to see the hit. I swear that's a bird in that top circle. The other circle's off a little bit. Here you see it. Pew! Little mark. And then again, replay. Pew! And there's bird top right. See it? Anyway, there it is. By the looks of it, it probably was tumbling when it got there, or just hit funny. Anyway, you can see the T-posts, see how small that frickin' target is. Needless to say, pretty happy about that. And there's the view from far away.